Hello everyone, I'm here to show you a guide to how to do a fast fortress. So the fast fortress is a really easy strategy to pull off. It's very commonly used online. The idea is you want to get to the fortress age as quick as possible, and once you get to fortress age it sets you up really nicely to either boom into the late game or set up a nice strong age 3 attack with cannons and all those better tech units. So I've chosen France for the civilization. The reason being France is a very versatile civilization. They're very easy to use, and I just recommend them as a beginning place to start because again you can do all sorts of strategies with them. So before we start, I'll just quickly show you what we're going to do with our build order. Again, this is a really basic build order. This will be aimed more for beginners, and we'll keep this nice and to the point. So we're going to select this deck, beginner deck. So this is just the deck that has been preset by Microsoft. So I've just made a few tweaks. So the first thing we're going to send is 3 bills, 700 coin, 700 wood. That's it. Once we get to age 3, we've got all these cards to play with, and I'll talk us through why we would send what we need to send. Okay, so let's get the game going. So the first thing we want to do is kind of let your villagers collect the food crates. They will automatically collect the food crates first. There is ways to make this a bit more efficient, but I think for now it's actually better just to let them gather. And we're going to keep this nice and basic. So, same goes for the explorer. Normally as you explore around, shift click, you explore around the map, you would pick up treasures, but if most people are new to this game, I wouldn't recommend actually focusing on collecting all these interesting treasures, because the main thing is that we have constant villager production and we get the build order right. We want to make sure that we get the basics down before we start microing our explorers. So you want to start shooting your herds towards your town centre like this. This is so we keep our animals nice and close, so it will keep our villagers, as we gather from them, safe from harass later on. So yeah, go down and throw a house down and a market. So in the early game we want to get to 800 food to age up, as you can see there. We only usually make we go up to age 2 with about 13 to 14 villages as France. This will vary on the civilization you play, but for now we'll just focus on France. Now, the natural resources, as in coin, wood and animals, are the fastest way to gather resources. So I see a lot of players in the early game, I see them making mills. That's really inefficient. Don't do that. You really want to be staying on the natural resources as long as humanly possible. And that will mean that you will have to get out on the map and secure new hunts and protect them. I know it can be a bit scary venturing out on the map later on in the game, but it does need to be done. So again, we're playing against the basic AI right now, so this just takes the pressure away from us, so we're not worrying about being harassed. And I do recommend, while you're learning any kind of build order or starting the game, just to play around against the easy AI, just while you master these basics. So I'm going to go up with 13 villagers.
Bonjour, chasseur. Je le ferai. Chasseur.
Alright. So as you can see, we've sent our 3 villager card, and we're just waiting to get enough food to age up. So here we go. So we're going to go up with the 400 wood. The reason we do this is it allows us to build a couple of houses and a barracks when we get to age 2. So in the meantime, while we're aging up, I like to get my market upgrades, so we want all 3 of these ones. These just help gather these resources more efficiently.
Bonjour. Prêt, bûcheron. Prêt. Correct.
Right, so yeah, just keep scouting around, and again, when you get more comfortable with this game, I do recommend picking up the treasures, and treasures provide great bonuses and head starts. But again, we're focusing on basics in this tutorial. So, the moment we get to
Oui, ramasseur. Votre ordre?
so what we want to do now is we want to put about 4 villages
Oui.
on
Chasseur.
gold. And the reason being is if we look at age 3, to get to age 3 you need 1,000 gold and 1,200 food. So what we're going to do is gather 300 coin, and then we're going to send this 700 coin card, which will bring us to 1,000, and by that point we should have enough food to click up to the next stage.
Prêt.
There we go, we've aged up.
Votre ordre? Oui.
Now see how my hunts are getting away from me?
Je le
Let's
ferai.
bring them back in.
Très bien. Chasseur.
So as you can see, there's not really much to do in the early game. Send that. Of course, around about this time, you can start being
Prêt.
harassed by enemies, but I think while you're starting out, don't worry about that at the moment. We're just, again, focusing on getting the build order right.
Oui, votre ordre? Très bien. Oui.
So as you can see, you can, when you start getting
Votre ordre?
excessive
Maçon.
wood,
Ramasseur.
build a house, and we might be
Oui,
able to build a
right.
barracks as well.
Maçon. Chasseur.
With
Oui.
the fast
Chasse-
fortress,
chasseur.
at first try keep all your buildings nice and snug.
Prêt.
The reason
Chasseur.
being, if they are going to do a rush, they're going to start picking off buildings that are easy to pick off. So you don't want to give them that
Oui.
opportunity.
Bonjour. Je le ferai.
So,
Bonjour.
as
Oui.
you can see, our 700 coins arrived, and we're going to collect that immediately.
Oui. Chasseur.
So the rest of our villagers should be on food. By the time this villager finishes and these gold
Votre ordre? Correct.
crates are mined up, it should be about time to click up.
Chasseur. Chasseur. Prêt. Oui, je le ferai. Votre ordre? Oui, correct. Oui, très bien. Chasseur. Prêt. Je le ferai. Chasseur. Votre chasseur.
So I've been a bit slack with my villagers here, so that's okay. So generally you want to be hitting age 3 by 7 minutes, around about 7:30ish, that's fine. So when we go up we can choose either one of these options. I'm going to go with the covered wagon because I want you to have more of a focus on
Prêt. Correct. Très bien.
economy
Correct.
over military. When you're learning, it's much more important to
Prêt. Très
learn
bien.
how to
Maçon.
play a late game and have a
Votre
good
ordre?
idea of how
Chasseur.
to
Maçon. Chasseur.
manage your economy, then
Oui.
you know
Ramasseur.
get a fancy
Oui.
army.
Ramasseur. Bonjour. Ramasseur.
So yeah, now while we're in this stage from going to age 2 to 3, we want to put
Bonjour.
about have a reasonably even
Votre
distribution
ordre?
of
Chasseur.
resources, slightly more in food. Reason being we're going to get a covered wagon when we go up, and we're going to be pumping out to lots of villagers. So next card will be 700 wood. This will allow us to put up some trading posts, which is really nice because it allows us to get XP from the trade route, which will give us in turn more cards shipments to send.
Votre ordre?
It also will allow us to build a stable, which we will also need for this build. While we've got an excess of food right now, you can go ahead and get yourself a great coat, which makes our villagers a bit
Oui.
more sturdy.
Correct. Ramasseur.
Now, it won't happen to you if you're playing against a lower level player, but as you start playing against more experienced players, this is the time they're going to come in and start just harassing your villagers. So during this time you need to just be wary of that and just try your best to not take damage to it.
Correct. Chasseur.
Again, I'm not focusing too much on herding all these animals in. Normally you would be, but right now we're just focusing on this building. So I'm going to put this town centre here.
Correct.
The reason I'm putting it out a bit, you can put town centres nice and close and snug to your base, but I do recommend you be a little bit brave about putting town centres out on the map because it gives you map control. So right now this town centre is going to be securing gold, food and wood. And you really do want to be
Votre ordre? Très bien.
getting these
Très bien.
securing the map where you can.
Oui.
So let's build ourselves a trading post. And let's also build ourselves a
Votre
stable.
ordre? Oui. Correct. Maçon. Ramasseur.
So now that we're in age 3, we can send unit cards if we're finding that we're being attacked and or we want to show a bit of aggression. We can send military
Bonjour.
cards, but what we're going to do
Ramasseur.
instead is we're going to plan for the late game, and we're going to send
Oui.
the 1,000 wood crate, so we can build another town center and keep going on getting all our upgrades. So right now, yeah, we want to always be prioritizing villager production.
Votre ordre?
You do really want to try and keep a constant supply of military units as well, but if you have to choose between military and villagers, always choose the villagers, unless you're worried that you're going to die. In any RTS game, constant villager production is absolutely vital. You never want to be slacking on that.
Oui. Correct. Maçon.
Another thing is
Ramasseur.
make sure you're constantly looking down here at your population limit, because you don't want to get
Bonjour. Maçon.
population
Ramasseur.
cap.
Très bien.
Because that's not
Oui.
ideal.
Correct.
So we're going to send this 1,000 wood, because again, we're not worrying about ending the game or
Prêt.
doing any crazy aggression. We're just we want to set ourselves up really well for the late game. Now I'm going to talk a little bit more about our units of choice here in a second.
Votre ordre? Oui. Bûcheron.
But first of all, let's fix our economy. So it happens to all of us. Everyone who plays this game knows that your economy gets a little bit out of whack, you know. So that's fine. It happens to everyone. Just fix it where you can. So if you notice you've got too many on one resource and you've got excessive amounts of
Très bien.
any particular resource, just readjust it. That's fine. It's not the end of the world. So here we go. So right now we've got units, and if you've got idle military sitting about, you can go, if you feel like you've got the multitasking too, and you're a bit more of a confident player, you go harass their herds. So like deny their own natural resources. If not, just focus on
Bonjour. Maçon.
place your units where there's vulnerable villagers. So there's vulnerable villagers over here. If you were mining over here, you know, you just go send your units to keep vulnerable villagers safe. So there we go. So right now you can see I'm using control groups. Control groups are absolutely vital.
Ramasseur.
I will make another video on control groups at some point. If there's an interest in that, I would definitely do that. But right now, you can see all I'm doing, getting all my economic upgrades, making sure I've got constant villager production, and once I've got enough wood, we're going to use this explorer to make another town centre. So again, going to pick somewhere sensible, somewhere where there's lots of resources about. Like here we go. About here's fine.
Oui. Votre ordre? Oui. Oui.
Alright, so we'll build a town centre over here.
Prêt. Votre ordre?
So
Votre
as you can
ordre?
see, this just a little hint. That's an idle villager prompt there. Always be hitting that, so you know where your idle villagers are. Just focus on keeping your villagers working at all times if you can. I think it's really important to focus more on economy and setting yourself up than trying to micro a battle. Because I think another trap that I certainly fell into, and a lot of players fall into when they play this game or any RTS, is they worry more about, you know, the battles, and they get distracted rather than actually focusing on economic management. Because this is what wins you games. Good macro is what actually makes a good player. And all these things do apply to team games. So look, there's nothing really much more to say other than this. as I said, we've followed our build order, and at this point I would be really happy with this position. If you're playing online, you've got 3 town centres, you're booming into the late game, you've got a good army here. You've got great map control. The world's your oyster. There's not really much more to add. It's a really simple. It's that easy. One thing I might add from this point now is how to control your units. So this is a bit more of a difficult composition, but it's a hit and run composition. So your skirmishers will beat anything on the ground really. So, and how you want to fight is you A move like that, and then you run away. So A move, run away. Now if they send some cav in to go attack your skirmishers, use your dragoons to kill those cav. And this is why you kind of need to use control groups. And then of course you can send cannons, which are also will shred up infantry. I hope this guide helps. This is certainly one of the easiest build orders to pull off, and France is a very good civ to start with. So yeah, if you like this video, just let me know in the comments, and I'll keep making these kind of basic tutorials, and I'll come out with more build orders, hotkey guides, and everything like that. So thank you for watching, and please give me some feedback on how this video went. Thank you.